Okay, Thomas Witkowski, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Sure. Hey, how's everybody? Dr. Greer, Pat, Robert?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much for having me. It's a extreme honor and privilege to be here amongst all of you guys.
Thank you.
It's thank you, sir. It's a multiple part question.
Okay.
Can I have that green shirt after you're done? I have the two of the blue.
Well, you know, this one was made for me a long time ago, and
I really like it.
a space artist named Ron Russell designed them, and then we used to have them, and we ran out of them, and this is probably 20 years old.
I don't care. I still like it. It's great. It's fantastic. So
Paula Harris has one because I was in Rome with her, and we were doing all this stuff with Monsignor Balducci and the Vatican astronomers and all this. And we were in a cab. She tells this hilarious story. And she says, I love that shirt. I said, well, do you want it? He says, sure. So I take it off in the middle of a cab. I say, here. I said, but I need something to wear now. I know. I'm crazy that way.
Oh, that's fine. That's great.
She has one. Paula Harris has one.
Oh, it's fantastic. So listen, it's a multiple part question, and I'm not crazy. I mean, I've seen ever since I was little. I can remember anywhere from New Jersey to Florida when I was in the military. I've seen things just mainly in the daytime, more than night, but I've seen them in the night as well. So I'm going to ask, why is it that some people see them more than others? Is it just a coincidence that I continue to see them? Are they attracted to me, or is it like, is it possible that they're attracted to the bloodline for some reason or another more than others? Why do some of us see them more frequently in the daytime versus night? Because I see them a lot in the day versus at night. I posted a video. I think Pat and Robert have seen it. I'm sure you're very busy, so you probably haven't had a chance, but they come every year. They come like 3 something in the afternoon, 4 o'clock. I've got my 20 by 80s, and they're just right there. And I'm just wondering, like, what do they want? Why do they keep coming? How do I get a message to them? I started with your CE5 protocol. I did start trying to do the meditation, but I haven't received an answer. I asked them to come closer. They just got brighter. So I'm just going to leave it at that, sir.
Well, that's what they'll do. That, you know, they can interface in a lot of ways. I mean, like, for example, they can begin to communicate through your electronic devices, magnetometers, radar detectors, even your iPhone or whatever cell phone you have. We've had many of those events happen. As to why some people are having more sightings, number one, I think a lot of people never look. It's a little bit like, you know, when the story that when Christopher Columbus, so they landed on the beach in Florida and the native peoples, it was such a foreign thing that didn't fit the paradigm of the native peoples. They didn't see those ships on the water, and until literally Christopher Columbus came up and they shook hands. So the human brain filters out things that are incongruent. And that's just part of the human condition. The other is most people aren't looking up. There have been a lot of major events that have happened all over the world, and everyone's looking down, or they're looking at a TV screen, or they're looking here. They're not looking up there. Very few people ever are looking at the sky. Why? Unless they hear something up there. And the third is what you're referring to, and that is there are certain people who, for whatever reason, on some part of their consciousness, have either had contact, or the ETs know they're open to it, or they know that something in the future that this person might have a role to play. And, you know, because I had these experiences when I was a child with ETs in my room. I don't talk about this much. I'm guessing I was 6, 7, 8, 9. And about when I was 8 or 9, now this would have been 1963 or so, in North Carolina, I had major daytime ET craft appear. And that was followed by these experiences. I didn't understand them in my bedroom at night. Kind of freaked me out because I didn't understand what was happening. And then there was a hiatus, and then I had the experience when I founded the whole CE5 protocols with the ETs in 1973. But I think that they sort of know if somebody has some kind of connection on some multi-dimensional aspect of their consciousness fractal, the hologram of consciousness. Because look at it this way, we're all awake, and you have your right now body, personality, everything, and I have mine. But between the unbounded absolute field of pure consciousness and this here now, there's all the other dimensions that we're also connected into. So it's very complex. It's very beautiful and very complex, which is why simplistic theories always fall apart, because the cosmos is infinitely, elegantly complex.
Yeah.
And also simple once you understand that. But you have to understand holography and non-locality and all of that, because if you don't understand entangled universe, non-locality, consciousness, omnipresence of consciousness, then there's the absolute field of consciousness. That's just the samadhi unbounded. But it's also, turns out that every photon is conscious and it can react to consciousness. And so can every electron. And so can every particle and every tree and everything. So there's a lot between the unbounded, undifferentiated ocean, infinite ocean of pure mind consciousness and this right here. So that's where it gets really interesting. And that's how I think a lot of contact events happen on levels that we don't, in our intellect and ego, quite understand yet. But that's why I tell people, don't overthink it, go with the flow. Flow consciousness, and as you're able to, you will discern what it is that they're interested in for you. I've found that when people go into meditation and ask, why am I having this experience and what does it mean and what am I supposed to do with it, some doors will open, some things will happen in the external world that are sort of like an unseen hand is orchestrating it, sort of in a really mysterious way. But it's not mysterious if you begin to think that most of what exists in creation is beyond what we normally see 3D. And that's, I think, exactly why people have these experiences. We've had a lot of sightings during the day. We'll be doing a CE5 event and something will zip in and fly over and what have you. So it doesn't have to be at night. Obviously, if it's visible during the day with the naked eye, it's got to be something quite significant and relatively close, yes. Because the sun's going to wash out everything. But yeah, that does happen. The other part of it is you have to describe the object, how it moved, and then go to it and remote view it. I mean, this is where training, the remote view training, is so important. And ask yourself, is that hours, classified anti-gravity, so-called craft, what they call a flux liner at Lockheed, or an alien reproduction vehicle? Is it an extraterrestrial craft, or is it something I'm misperceiving? So you have to go through that questioning, and then ask and be asked to what we do with our CE5 events. We do that, and then we sit and become silent. So most people, they have some sighting, some external stimulus, and that's where it ends. To me, that's where it begins. So that's where you then go to quieter consciousness and ask, what is that? What did I see? What did it mean? And then be quiet and see if a thought or an image comes and answers the question.
Sure.
So it's an iterative back and forth process.
Yeah. The strangest thing on the last, no, I'm sorry, sir.
We're probably going to quickly, we'll have to move some other questions.
Sure. Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.